CTV News with Lauren Stallone.
Good evening. Thank you for joining us. We begin tonight with the latest surge at the pumps, with gas prices across London now hovering around $1.90 a litre. Uncertainty over the conflict in Iran and the ongoing blockade in the Strait of Hormuz are disrupting oil distribution, contributing to the price increases. The record high for London is almost $2 a litre, which we saw in spring 2022. Adrian Gabriel has more on just how much this could cost drivers if these prices remain elevated long term.
With gas prices soaring, Canadians are feeling less than fulfilled at the pumps.
It's ridiculous, to be honest.
When you look at the price on the pump, what goes through your mind?
Am I going to have to put my car away for a bit?
What we're paying is a direct result as to what's going on in the Middle East.
The war in Iran and the subsequent closure of the Strait of Hormuz, where 20% of the world's oil normally travels through, has sent prices peaking.
I paid $170.
CTV News crunched the numbers. An average size vehicle has about a 50-litre gas tank. Most Canadians fill up once per week. The cheapest national average for gas so far this year is about $1.22 per litre. Over a 12-month period, that would run you about $3,172 in gas per year. On the high end, the national average now sits at about $1.84 per litre. If the high price sticks around, it would cost an average of about $4,784 a year at the pumps. That's a difference of $1,612.
I think it's going to get much higher. I see $2 a litre as not only a possibility, it's a probability at this stage.
The potential increase has some drivers already cutting back on other expenses. You'd have to cut back on activities with your family.
Yes, I'm going to have to, due to the fact that the gas prices are affecting us a lot.
My meat consumption has gone down significantly, and for me, there needs to be an offset.
Those watching the market say there's a belief that elevated prices could be the new normal for several more months.
I can see this going to the end of the year. Merry Christmas.
Analysts tell us that even if the Strait of Hormuz was reopened today, it would take at least 2 months before we see any meaningful decrease in the price here at the pumps. Adrian Gabriel, CTV News, Toronto.
Local MPP Rob Flack has announced millions of provincial dollars for the primary health care teams in our region, meant to expand access when there's a long list of people trying to find a family doctor. Brian Bicknell has more on what this funding is supposed to accomplish.
With the expanding population across the region, it means more people needing access to primary care.
40,000 people have come to London and surrounding communities since the pandemic, and we're growing.
Elgin Middlesex London MPP Rob Flack on Friday announced nearly $15 million funding to bolster primary health care teams across the Thames Valley Health Network.
To make it easier for patients and families to connect to care closer to home.
The funding means more than 33,000 patients will have access to primary health teams, including family doctors and nurse practitioners.
It comes with resources to surround our providers with team-based care. So that's your dietitians, occupational therapists, nurses, and all these professionals who, as a team, are looking at the holistic service of folks in the community.
The announcement coming at a time of critical need right across the province when it comes to accessing primary care. According to the Ontario Medical Association, as of last year, there were more than 2.5 million people in Ontario without a family doctor.
At the end of the day, we don't have enough primary care physicians or nurse practitioners in Middlesex London right now to serve the number of people who are waiting. So the last updated information that we have, and we know it's out of date, is about 91,000 people waiting to be or looking to be attached to primary care.
So the information that we have available to us is that there are about 8,000 people in our community that do not have a formal connection with a family physician or a nurse practitioner. And our target with this investment is to connect 8,000 people.
The goal is to get those who need primary care connected within 1 year. Brian Bicknell, CTV News, St. Thomas.
If day one of the nomination period is any indication, Londoners could have plenty of choices on the ballot in this fall's municipal election. With more on a busy day at City Hall, here's Daryl Newcomb.
A long line of familiar faces and first-time candidates filing nomination papers to run in the upcoming municipal election. Former councillor Roger Caranci is looking to return after more than a decade away from City Hall.
I've been heavily involved in affordable housing, and I've seen what we can do as a city, and I've seen the pitfalls that we fall into, and I want to help.
Caranci will be looking to topple incumbent Hadley McAllister in Ward 1, which after a boundary review will see the Old East Village added to the ward that runs along Hamilton Road.
I've been really proud of what I've been able to accomplish over the last 4 years fighting for my ward. There's a lot of great things happening, but for me, I really want to see these things to the finish line.
And a boundary change in North London will see the current Ward 7 councillor Corinne Rahman seeking election in Ward 5.
There's more work to be done, and I think I bring a clear vision to the table for our city.
Many first-time candidates hoping to connect with voters who may have a desire for change.
It's time, a new candidate, and something new for politics. Not going to make promises that I can't keep.
Deciding to run for a council seat may require a little more consideration this time, as a 35% raise to their base pay comes with at least an expectation that they work full-time hours. By the end of the day, 21 candidates had filed their paperwork, allowing them to launch their campaigns.
I did give birth a week ago today. Little Alexander, he will absolutely, you will see me out on the campaign trail going on doors with my little helper strapped to my chest. He is very excited. He came early so I could file today.
Candidates have until August 21st to file their nomination papers. Election day is October 26th. Daryl Newcomb, CTV News.
And we have our first confirmed candidates for the mayor's office.
There'll be debates and there'll be discussions, but I'm going to come at that with facts, stats, and a record that is very clear.
I left the city to go to school and start my career, and when I came back, it wasn't the same city.
Josh Morgan filed his nomination papers this afternoon, seeking the first re-election as London mayor in 20 years. Earlier in the day, Kristen Kraus launched her campaign, while Josh Fair has also entered the race.
The level of services for what we're paying is just not where I think the value should be, and we don't have a clear vision. We need strong leadership and a clear vision.
We got a record. That record is very clear. Someone can't stand here and tell you the city is less safe than it was 4 years ago, because all the statistics show that our investments are working. Someone can't tell you we have less affordable and supportive housing than we had 4 years ago.
A London woman was sentenced to 5.5 years in prison today for the stabbing death of her partner. With more from the London courthouse, here's Nick Paparella.
It's sad. I know we're all still very angry, but I know no amount of time would bring back Terry.
Emily Ketchigo misses her cousin Terry Albert Jr. every day, and she doesn't mind showing it. The court heard that in September of 2023, a verbal argument with his girlfriend turned deadly after Albert was stabbed twice at their Forbes Street address. Originally charged with second-degree murder, 37-year-old Christine Bishop eventually pled guilty to the lesser charge of manslaughter. As he handed down his sentence, Justice Kevin McHugh noted that both the victim and the accused were addicts and high on fentanyl on the day in question. Bishop fled the scene after the stabbing and was later located with a bloody paring knife, with the judge saying the defendant made no effort to assist the victim after having stabbed him and left the scene without alerting the authorities to the victim's need for what had to be medical attention. He then sentenced Bishop to 5.5 years. However, with credit for time already served, she has just over 1.5 years left, which angered members of the Albert family.
Her being able to say she can rehabilitate and do all these things, you know, Terry will never get to do that. Terry will never get to have kids. Terry will never get to see his nephew grow up. Never get to come to family functions with us again. So, you know, he's never going to get that chance that she's going to get.
Emily agreed with Justice McHugh when he told the court Mr. Albert's death has had a significant impact on the family unit.
He was someone that just brightened up the room no matter what the situation was. He could make somebody just laugh.
Nick Paparella, CTV News.
In another courtroom, a 20-year-old man pleaded guilty today for his role in a fraternity house fire in North London. Emergency crews were called to Pi Kappa Alpha frat house in December. 6 people were taken to hospital, one of them in critical condition. The court heard rubbing alcohol was poured onto an open fire during the party. Today, Bryson Donald pleaded guilty to criminal negligence causing bodily harm. His sentencing hearing is set for June 26th. A St. Thomas business is blazing a new trail system at the Yarmouth Yards Industrial Park.
There you go.
Markings on a tree show the way through the new route through a city-owned woodlot that's part of the industrial park. It's home to the new PowerCo EV battery gigafactory under construction. PowerCo workers were helping out today to clear the path, which runs a little more than 1 kilometer long. It will connect with a network of paths and trails running through the rest of the city. The halt ended today for the winter utility disconnections. Ontario residents who have fallen behind on their bills can now have their services turned off. And as Scott Miller reports, that's led to a flood of calls to local utility assistance programs.
Today, hundreds of Ontarians will be getting a letter in the mail saying their heat and/or hydro will be disconnected because of non-payment.
This absolutely happens. It's a regular practice. There is nothing to stop a utility company from disconnecting for non-payment between May 1st and November.
The winter utility disconnection moratorium ends today, which means people have been calling the United Way of Grey Bruce's utility assistance program nonstop all this week.
Our phone here at the United Way has been kind of ringing off the hook from people looking for further assistance. Many have already accessed the provincial LEAP program for 2026, but it hasn't been enough to negate the bill.
Dobbin says the United Way of Bruce Grey spends nearly $250,000 each year helping people pay their utility bills. In the first few months of this year, more than $35,000 has already gone out the door.
We look at what we're spending, so we've already spent about $17,000 more this year in this same time frame, so the first 4 months of 2026 versus what we spent in 25. And then when we look at what we spent in all of 25 versus 24, we spent over $55,000 more just helping people with their utilities in 25 than we did in 24.
After going into deficit last year, Dobbin says the United Way can only cover up to $700 for overdue oil, propane, or wood bills. Provincial or utility-specific programs can cover overdue natural gas and electricity bills. Dobbin says they cannot go into deficit covering utility bills this year.
How do you tell somebody, no, I'm sorry, you will be disconnected. No, I'm sorry, you will be cold, because we just simply do not have the money to pay that bill for you.
While Dobbin says all donations to their utility assistance program do help people, it still is just a Band-Aid on a societal issue that is seeing more and more people fall into poverty as the cost of literally everything rises.
We're seeing this snowball effect of people running out of EI, suddenly on Ontario Works going, wait, I get $733 to pay all the bills, pay the rent, feed my kids, that's it. And that's where they're at our doorstep in complete and utter crisis.
In Grey Bruce, Scott Miller, CTV News.
Coming up, we take a look at what many historians say is London's most significant historic site. Canada's main stock index finished in negative territory, weighed down by losses in the energy sector. In Toronto, the TSX lost 73 points, and in New York, the Dow fell 153, but the Nasdaq gained 222. The Canadian dollar closed the week with a 1/4 cent gain, and on commodity markets, gold is up almost $15 an ounce, and oil is down $3.13 a barrel. American senators have rejected a measure to restrict President Donald Trump's war powers by requiring congressional approval.
The yeas are 47, the nays are 50, and the motion is not agreed to.
The vote comes as the war nears the 2-month mark. A post-Vietnam law says Congress must sign off on all war actions. However, some Republican lawmakers are insisting the president can independently extend U.S. military involvement by another 30 days, while others are arguing ongoing ceasefire days don't count toward that total. Meanwhile, President Trump says he may pull American troops out of Italy and Spain after previously threatening to pull U.S. troops from Germany over their refusal to support the war in Iran.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, I probably will. Why should I? Look, why shouldn't I? Italy has not been of any help to us, and Spain has been horrible.
Trump threatened Germany after the German chancellor said Iran was humiliating America. Spain's prime minister has criticized the war from the outset, while Italian officials recently refused the U.S. use of an airbase in Sicily. Trump also criticized NATO allies for not sending their navies to help reopen the Strait of Hormuz.
Good evening, I'm Rita Ismail. A bit of a cool start to May and instability in the forecast. We are surrounded by an area of low pressure. Now, as this system moves out tonight, our temperature will actually drop below the freezing mark. And as a result, we do have a frost advisory in place. We'll wake up Saturday to lots of sunshine, but we are tracking the next weather maker that will bring in some rainfall for Sunday. I'll have the timing of that coming up after the break.
Rita joins me now. Rita, it was a beautiful day out, but definitely colder, and I'm so over the cold.
I know. Unfortunately, it is a cool start to May, Lauren. Our temperatures struggled to reach near seasonal values. Our high today, only 10 degrees. Overnight low, we dropped to 1 degree. And tonight, we're actually going lower than that, -1 overnight. And of course, as a result, we do have a frost advisory in place. Cover your plants to protect them from the cold air mass. Normal this time of year, 16 degrees. We're not really anywhere near that today. Record 26 in 2001. Record low -5 in 1998. Now, as we head into the night, we could see some clearing. We had a low pressure system sitting just to the south of Lake Erie. It brought some rainfall throughout Elgin County, but for the rest of us, it was mostly a mix of sun and cloud here, and then further to the north, some moisture as well associated with an upper level trough. We do have some clearing for Saturday morning. Here's how that plays out in the forecast model. So waking up on Saturday to lots of sunshine, and then we'll switch to a mix of sun and cloud. Again, there is that trough that will move out, and then in behind it, a weak low pressure system moves in Sunday. So Sunday morning, sunny skies, but quickly that cloud cover increases, and around noon we will have some widespread rainfall and heavy rain embedded with some possible non-severe thunderstorms clearing out by about 5 p.m. on Sunday. So between noon and 5, we're expecting rain on Sunday. Tomorrow, though, appears to be nice in terms of dryness. We don't have much in the way of moisture, but the clouds will increase in the afternoon, and our temperature will continue to struggle at only a daytime high of 9 degrees for your Saturday. The winds will be out of the northwest about 15 kilometers per hour, so it will feel slightly cooler than that. Your 7-day forecast, 9 degrees for Saturday, mix of sun and cloud. Again, increasing cloud cover late in the day Saturday, heading into Sunday. We have that afternoon rainfall, but warmer air moves in. So Sunday, 16 degrees, and then heading into Monday, 21 degrees. That will be nice and warm before we drop right back down on Tuesday. Again, a bit of an unstable start to May. Showers in store for Tuesday. The chance is definitely there late day Thursday, and then Friday we'll have a little bit of rainfall as well, with our temperature at 11 degrees. Midwestern Ontario, similar conditions for your Saturday, a bit windy. The winds again out of the northwest tomorrow, so it will feel cool. We're going to drop down to -2 overnight in Midwestern Ontario. Yes, it is May 1st, but we're still holding on to a bit of that colder air mass. Evening showers in store for Sunday, 11 degrees, and then 17. Nice and mild for your Monday, but a lot more cloud cover for you. We're expecting those scattered showers for Tuesday, and then Wednesday appears to be a nice mix of sun and cloud. 8 degrees both Thursday and Friday. Lauren?
Thanks, Rita. A young boy who lost his ability to walk is getting back on his feet. Alexandra Hollick has more on the robotic solution developed in southwestern Ontario.
Good job, Mateo.
7-year-old Mateo Vandermeer is putting his best foot forward, thanks to a helping hand from a robot.
With the Trexo, we saw him take his first steps again.
The exoskeleton was created by Trexo Robotics, a Mississauga-based company started by a pair of University of Waterloo graduates. The device helps children with mobility impairments build strength, one step at a time.
Every time that he walks is one step forward for him, hopefully being able to take some steps on his own.
Mateo was born with a severe heart condition. Growing up, he required frequent checkups, which at times could be invasive. At just 4 years old, Mateo suffered a medical complication, losing movement in his arms and legs.
It was a really tough moment for us as a family, but we persevered, and since then, Mateo has continued to defy expectations.
So let's go a little bit easier.
To keep Mateo moving forward, his family hopes to purchase his own custom Trexo, but the high tech comes with a hefty price tag. So they started a GoFundMe to raise $45,000.
We're only $7K away from our goal of $45K to have Mateo have his own Trexo home here and be able to practice every day.
Higher, higher. Mateo's parents say they're grateful for the support they've received so far and the community they've found over the last few years.
It truly does take a village. It would be impossible if we were just on our own. I wouldn't even want to think about what that would look like.
And they hope that by sharing Mateo's story, they'll be able to educate others while making big strides in Mateo's road to regaining mobility.
You will know that it's going towards a little boy that is joyful and beautiful and deserves the opportunity to walk again.
Alexandra Hollick, CTV News, Guelph.
London's top stories.
We have breaking news tonight out of Ottawa. The latest in the
breaking news alerts.
I'm tracking an area of severe weather. It'll start.
And watch live.
A development now to a story from City Hall we brought you.
Download the CTV News app.
CTV News London has a newsletter helping you start your day with the latest local headlines. By signing up, you'll get local news content from CTV London direct to your inbox, including top stories, the forecast, and videos. You can sign up at ctvnewslondon.ca.
Finally, tonight we're taking a look at what many historians agree is London's most significant historic site. Insulin was conceived at Banting House more than a century ago, forever changing diabetes treatment around the world. Sean Irvin has more in the latest installment of London 200.
The flame of hope burns brightly outside the Banting House National Historic Site, as it has since the Queen Mother dedicated it in 1989.
This flame will be extinguished the very moment that diabetes is finally conquered.
But until that day, the control for diabetes shall be revered.
For the discovery of insulin, your life expectancy is about 6 months to 2 years. There are no ifs, no ands, no buts.
But on October 31st, 1920, inside a second-floor bedroom of this home at Queen's in Adelaide, a fledgling doctor awoke with an idea that would save the lives of millions.
It's undoubtedly the most important medical discovery in Canada of the 20th century.
Dr. Frederick Banting's journey to London began as an opportunity. After graduation from the University of Toronto, he arrived here to open his medical practice. In a time before OHIP, Dr. Banting attracted hardly any patients and was struggling to make ends meet. In desperation, he took a job teaching at Western University. Early on in his tenure, he was given a topic.
On a subject he knew very little about, diabetes and carbohydrate metabolism. So he goes to the medical school, reads everything he can, and prepares his lecture.
Late that evening, Banting put his glasses on the nightstand, but couldn't stop thinking about what he had read. At 2 a.m., he jumped out of bed with a concept and wrote it down.
Those 25 words would lead to the discovery of insulin 10 months later, after only 12 weeks of experiments.
Less than 1 year later, life-saving insulin would be tested on a first patient in Toronto, Leonard Thompson. Soon, Banting would test a dozen more. One 5-year-old Teddy Ryder was near death when he received his first injection.
He was really very ill,
as a very young child and eventually traveled to Toronto and got very early insulin.
A year later, he wrote to Dr. Banting saying, "I'm a fat boy now, and I feel fine." In the late 20s, Ryder would visit Banting in Canada.
The longest living person having received insulin. He went on a little talk circuit. Written up in newspapers, he got awards.
He would live until 1993, becoming one of 85 million worldwide who credit what happened here for their longevity. Today, Dr. Banting's London home is their calling, where insulin users from 67 countries visited in 2025 to see his story that includes a Nobel Prize.
If you visit and you take a look at the guest book, there are lots of people who have come from all over the world and have actually made a pilgrimage to that spot.
Many leave heartfelt notes to Dr. Banting, who never downplayed what happened in this room.
In one of his memoir notations, he wrote, "It was in London where the idea came that's changed my life and possibly the lives of others."
An achievement marked by this globe in the garden of the museum. While here, some reflect on Banting's pledge to give insulin to the world. He never profited from it, selling the patent for $1.
The phrase often you see banter around is, insulin belongs to the world, not to me.
The selfless gift speaks to Banting's personal legacy. He was a respected artist and served his country in 2 world wars. The second conflict would take his life following a military plane crash in Newfoundland in 1941. In death came printed tributes that mentioned London and the moment that occurred here that changed the world.
Treating diabetes would almost today be on the same level as curing cancer. Imagine a London doctor developed a cure for cancer. That's the same impact.
For Banting to be a person, that's someone who's our hero and our savior. If I were across the world, I think I'd definitely at some point in my life make a trip here, pay tribute and make sure I kind of show my respect to the man who saved our lives.
Insulin is Canada's gift to the world, and it started right here in London.
Sean Irvin, CTV News.
That's our time tonight. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. I'm Lauren Stallone. Have a good night.